because I'm gonna want to get into like the games that are gone now. So which games we had? Tekken and COD gone.
Yeah.
And then what else?
Tekken, COD, Overwatch.
Okay.
Lots of shooters.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But we also converted
King
games.
of Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the
the
question
question
mark.
mark. The question mark game. Yeah.
There's more.
Yeah.
I know there's
Well,
more
Smash 2v2. Well, that wasn't.
Mario
So we converted a couple
Mario
games.
Kart is
Mario
gone.
Kart was gone.
Yeah, some of the games got converted to different formats,
Right.
so they're not
Not actually gone.
kind of gone, but not
And
really.
we'll get into that for sure. Okay, cool. Well, let's go with it then. So, welcome, Ultimate Endgamers League fam. You're here today with G-Licious, a.k.a. Ryan, also BillyDaGOAT.
BillyDaGOAT.
I don't know if he has an a.k.a. he wants to go with.
It's
No.
BillyDaGOAT.
Yeah,
It's BillyDaGOAT.
The goat.
All right, Billy, a.k.a. BillyDaGOAT. And then we're here today with the commissioner who really wants to talk about some stuff. So, are you ready for today?
Yeah, man. I'm ready.
All right.
What's his intro? What's his intro?
His intro? What's your
Yeah.
intro?
Yeah.
You want to repeat that one on Instagram? That was really funny. I was dying.
This is Drake and J. Cole had a baby. Checking in.
Yeah, just take a look at the camera so everybody can see you.
Drake and J. Cole had a baby.
There he is.
Yeah.
Beauty at his
I was
finest.
dying laughing at that. That was too funny.
That is on his
Just
Instagram.
supposed to be nonchalant. Like,
Yeah.
It's actually on the YouTube as well.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yep.
So you wanted to come in today to kind of address some things.
Mhm.
If you're not in the Discord, you might not know what we're talking about, but there's definitely people been like, whether it's been questioning things or excited about things or just trying to learn more about what's all the new things that are going on with the league.
Sure.
Yep.
So I think it's a really appropriate time to do that. The draft is April 3rd,
Yep.
which is this weekend on Sunday.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's going to be a huge event. There's going to be a lot going on. I know as an owner, I'm super excited.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
Same. Super
Yeah.
excited. This could change the way the league continues. So
Everything.
yes.
But that's something that we'll talk about for sure. Kind of talk about, some people had opinions about like trying to have the league ran a totally different way, and,
Yep.
and I would like for you to kind of explain why we don't want to do that. But I guess for now, we can just start off with the new wheel. You took off a bunch of games, you
Yep.
added a bunch of games.
Yep.
I guess what thought process do you go through in doing that? And then why do you do it?
Sure. So I think you guys can kind of ask specifically which games, because I know you probably have questions about specific games.
yeah,
A little bit.
But just to kind of go into the broader view, for me, it is all about kind of shifting people's perspectives and teaching them to be more versatile. Like the whole point of this game from the beginning was all about versatility and making sure that people were not only able to play different games, but prepared to play different games and be able to kind of on the fly switch it up, not have that like kind of negativity towards something new, because there's so many new games there's so many games out there, period, that a lot of people never really experience and they get stuck in their kind of view. But another thing is that there's a lot of games out there that they probably would excel at that they don't even know about, right? And so for me, if you're going to be an ultimate gamer, you should be able to pick up any game really and compete at a high level. So if a game comes out today that nobody knows anything about, you would be better than just some other person that plays video games because of how versatile you are, how many different games you've played, and how competitive you're able to be at a game almost immediately. And so that's what I'm, trying to put out there. And I kind of liken it to like if you were in I guess the easiest thing would be like a UFC match, right? And you're fighting somebody with a style that you've never fought before, right? It's a completely different game now, but you should still be able to do it based on the way you fight or based on your own versatility and your own skill sets. And a lot of people would just back down, right, from that fight. And those aren't necessarily, like, those are the people that we need to teach or change the attitude towards it, because I see gaming the same way. You're going into a dogfight, and you don't know what the other person's been doing, you don't know what they're capable of, and now you're trying to make something happen.
So the perspective,
Yeah.
it definitely seems like, and I think especially with us building the league right now and stuff, it seems like you're still aggressively making sure that the perspective of what the league is known, and that the players that are getting involved understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to go too far, too fast, and people forget that what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because that can happen. I could kind of see that happening, and I kind of let people know, like, a lot's going to change. Like, there's a lot that's going to change next season. I said it so many times, felt like a broken record, but I knew that it had to, because people needed to understand that there is that shift coming.
They were comfortable.
Yeah, way too comfortable.
Yeah, I noticed it too.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, you know, if they're comfortable but still versatile, I'm okay. But if they're comfortable and thinking that things can never change, then that's crazy. Like, from a business perspective, outside of like gaming, right? The only way that the business succeeds is if it is versatile, if it is able to be malleable and molded towards other businesses, right? Like, if another business has a certain game that they want pushed, and we aren't capable of pushing it because none of our players are versatile enough to be able to play it, or, you know, they'll get upset if some game gets put on the wheel, well, we could miss out on that opportunity. Whereas if we change it up all the time and kind of let any business or any company or any developer know, like, yo, you could be next, you could be the next one on the wheel, then it provides us with opportunities in the future. Mm-hmm. So I get that, you know, it's kind of frustrating because you want to be the best at the game forever and kind of hold that title. But at the end of the day, you will thank me when, you know, we have, you know, a game developer sending us, you know, $100,000 that we can then put into a pod because they want their game involved in our league.
Or you're the first group of people that get to play a new game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
The game's getting ready to be released, and we're now showcasing what that game is on our wheel on the big stage, and they're paying us to do it. Like, those types of things can happen if we're versatile enough to do it. Mm-hmm. If we get stuck in this, like, oh, this is how, you know, it's done and we're never going to change that, well, then no business is going to give us the opportunity that I so desperately want for the players.
Yeah, the opportunity won't even be there.
No,
because
we can't. Yeah. Because we've been doing it the same way forever. So from now till forever, just get used to it, because it's not going to change.
Get used to change.
Yeah, exactly.
So what about these other, you know, companies or developers and stuff that they don't like the way that the UELs run? Mm-hmm. Like they want it to be the way that they do it because that's what they're comfortable with. Right. And so what would you say to them?
Move out of the way. Yeah. Because you know we're here and it's only going to get bigger. Like, you know, if you're comfortable, it's the same. Again, we'll take it back to UFC. It's the same thing. You have the boxers that are comfortable boxing. They're making tons of money boxing. You have the boxing arenas that are comfortable with boxing, and they would have done that forever, right? And so when UFC came to them and said, "Look, I got a different way of doing things. Let's put it all together. Let's combine it. Let's do wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, all that stuff combined." Those arenas said the same thing. Like, no, not interested. We already make our money. What does this risk give us? Nothing, you know. Yep. But that is the benefit to being the innovator. The innovator is the small guy that people see as the small guy. And so they don't change what they're doing fast enough, because until you get to a point where you're way bigger than them, they won't catch on. Mm-hmm. That's the benefit that we have. If we continue to grow, so we'll have little people catch on here and there, but the big names will stay out of it because why would they? They're making enough money as they are until we surpass them. And then they'll want to jump on board. Yeah,
they want more. They want more value, but the value is just in the vision.
Exactly. And so that's where we're at. So to those companies, like, you know, just move over. I mean, eventually, you know, you will see it. Yeah. You don't see it now, and I don't care.
And it's not going to stop us.
No, heck no. I mean, it didn't stop me for 2 years, and look where we are now. Mm-hmm. If it had stopped me then I wouldn't be here, right? And so it's not going to stop me now. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep developing this. And the people that don't like the way it's run, you don't have to do it. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know?
And that's not what we're hearing from the community anyway.
No, heck no.
After the first season.
Yeah. I mean, when you play the game or watch the game, you get it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's that simple. Like, it's crazy, but that's the way it works. Like, you play the game or you watch the game, and then you get it, and then you're hooked. And it, you know, it's hard not to be, because it's so much fun. Mm-hmm. Even as somebody who's not a professional gamer, when we play, I have a ton of fun. So
Yo, it was probably strategically done that you posted the video of you and Billy playing Mortal Kombat.
I didn't do that.
Oh, you didn't?
No. I don't.
That's what he says.
Yeah, no, I don't do the clips.
Oh, okay.
Anything that's not edited is not me. So
Got
if it's edited down, I did that. If it's just a clip or anything like that,
Like the
it's
shorts?
Not me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it was just
good.
posted like what, today or yesterday?
I think
right?
it's today, yeah.
It was today. It was today where Titus was whooping Billy's ass in Mortal Kombat, and I thought he did that on purpose. I was like, oh man,
It's
Gonna
good
see him
timing.
today.
It was perfect timing.
Yeah.
Good timing.
That's
That
great.
was good. But I had the clip yesterday when we played Gears. And that's
Yeah.
what I did the sticky grenade and blew him up at the end.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
Titus, but it was his team.
Yeah.
He's
But,
like,
yeah.
redemption.
So I was like, get him back at him.
Right.
But I think that's, it's just all in good fun.
Yeah.
So,
So did you have any questions about specific games? Because I have some I can get into, but
well,
yeah.
I definitely had a interesting thought on what were your thoughts on adding StarCraft? Why did you add it? Because that was my, I grew up playing StarCraft. I've been playing it since the first one came out in '97, and so I've been playing it for a long time. Probably my favorite game of all time. And so it was the original esport. I think it should always be in the league, but I'm interested why you added it now.
So the original, that I wanted League of Legends in there really bad, right?
Yep.
But I logistically could not figure out how it would make sense to play that game and how it would be to manage that game. That game would be just a lot to manage, a lot to play. Though I eventually won it in. So that kind of, my choices were kind of always in my head anyways. Pokemon Unite, League of Legends, Starcraft, and XCOM, which I don't know if that's it's a game that I played a lot, and it's one of my favorite games.
Yep, love that game also.
Yeah, it's just turn-based.
Is it
kinda
mobile
soldier.
or?
Yeah, you're just a soldier kind of running, and it's all about angles. It's
Cover management.
cover, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, by the end, it was between StarCraft and XCOM. StarCraft is a very easy game to set up.
It is.
It's very easy to play.
Yep.
And there's a lot of strategy. So it's like, for me, that's like the perfect. If I'm watching a game, I like to see strategy. You know what I mean? So for me, that was pretty much the whole thing behind StarCraft. It has a ton of strategy. It's very easy to set up, and it's very easy to run without running forever. You know what I mean? Like, it can, but if we set certain rules in place,
Yeah,
then
had to modify it a little bit, but
exactly.
yeah.
You cut those things out, and now you have a game that will take no longer than 30 minutes, right? But you still get to see a lot of strategy and how people operate and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think it's widely considered to be the hardest video game ever.
yeah,
So
a lot of the
it'll be
people-
very interesting to see how much people can pick up.
Unless you've played like Age of Empires, any games that are really like you're thinking of 50,000 different things at
Age
once.
of Empires, what I
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
So like, if you're able to think of like, okay, this person's setting this up while this person's setting this up while I'm doing this, well, if you can't think like that, or any like tower game, defense tower, like those types of games, I used to play a lot as a kid. So.
Yeah, same. But I think it's considered to be the hardest game of all time because it's impossible to play perfectly.
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff that you have to do in the game that you watch professionals play and they're making mistakes all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I just watched, they had like an IEM tournament from like 2 months ago. It's like two of the best players in the world. And long story short, he like brings in this unit from behind. He just has to drop units into the mineral line to kill the workers, and the thing flies in and it just sits there because he like didn't push the button for it to drop once it got there.
To execute.
So then it's just sitting there not doing anything. And like, it would be the perfect time for it to like go off, but just because he missed that because he's doing something else, because like his main army's fighting the other main army and he didn't do that, and so it's crazy. Like, there's always more stuff you can do, and they're even developing like bots that are trying to play and stuff, and the bots can do some stuff really well, but it can't do everything really well. Like the highest players play at like 300 APM, which is actions per minute, so they're doing 300 things like on the screen per minute, right?
Not this guy.
So it's crazy, right? And the robots that they built are doing like 5,000, right? So they're doing all this crazy stuff, but there's certain stuff that the robots just can't. they haven't figured out yet. So like humans can still beat them, but some of the stuff is crazy. How the robots, like if you were able to do that, like the games would be like even more insane. But it's just impossible like for a human. So
that's
it's
crazy.
really interesting. You look into that. Yeah. You could do like fight the robot or something. Like it'd be kind of cool.
Well, I wanted to mention on this because that kind of brings something up. So something that I see in the future with what you were talking about with developers and how you're talking about League of Legends, right? I see in the future what people are going to be doing, the games are going to be being developed, or at least a portion or like a side of the game is going to be developed for the league. They're going to make sure that their games can fit the format. Setup times matter because of viewership. All those things are going to become what matters, and they're just going to change the way. They can already do it now. The developers are going to have that in mind. And it's going to be based around the league. That's what I see in the future.
So when Call of Duty takes an hour to set up,
change that.
And Call of Duty wasn't because of like setup time, though. I know a lot of people like feel that way. It wasn't. That wasn't what kind of triggered Call of Duty leaving. It was like it was a combination of things. Like one, for me, I was going to take out Siege or Call of Duty, and so when determining if like I knew I wanted Halo still because Halo is just a different style of shooter. Fortnite also made sense. I didn't know that they were going to remove like building and stuff like that. So the key ones that I wanted to keep were Fortnite, Halo, and then what was the third?
The ones you wanted to keep?
Yeah, that was this third shooter. Because I got rid of Overwatch, Splitgate, and COD.
Yep.
Yes. So the shooter.
What is the other shooter?
I don't have the list.
I don't have the list.
I'm blanking on it right now. Also.
But anyways, the point was like, so for me, Splitgate and Halo were too similar. So I didn't want two of the same game basically included, and I felt Halo was a more technical game. Like Splitgate is fun to watch, but the one thing about Splitgate is if you can, similar to Fortnite, where if you can learn the portals, you win, right? Yeah. And so the Gears is the other one. Yeah, Gears. And so Gears had to stay for me because Gears is so difficult as a shooter. It is like the one game that really requires you to learn to play it before you can be good at it. Like COD, you can pick up and play if you've played any other shooters, right? Halo, you can. It's a little bit more technical, but you can pick up and play it. You know, whether you've played other shooters or not. Siege, same thing. Like those games are games that you can literally just pick up and play. There's a lot to them now. If you're playing at a competitive level, I'm not taking away from that. I'm just simply saying, like, if it's a person that only plays fighters, then they can, and they've played COD or they've played, like, they can pick up any of those other games and play it. Gears, you have to learn to play it. Fortnite, same thing. Like, you have to really learn to play Fortnite to be good at Fortnite. You're not going to be able to just be good because you can aim or because
movement matters.
Yeah, all that stuff matters. Building matters, movement matters. You know, all that stuff matters. Understanding the guns and how they operate, you know, the other types of weapons, the power weapons. So all of that kind of went into that decision. Overwatch, for me, was the biggest reason that Overwatch came out of it because I knew that it was a game that people felt would not change. So Overwatch and Tekken I knew that I would make a statement with those two games, and so it, you know, at the end of the day, I like the games. I like the games in the wheel. I think that they belong there, but I needed people to understand that you have to be versatile. And those were two games that basically everyone I knew would be a little bit, you know, upset about. And so if I know that, you know, from my position, well, I know because it's me, but from my position, it can be very difficult to make any decision because every decision ends up with some people that are going to be angry and some people that will be okay and happy about it, right? And so this was, for me, an easy decision because I knew everyone would be angry. So, you know what I mean?
Like, fair.
Exactly. So by doing that, it basically allows people to know, like, okay, like anything can go. Anything can change. We need to be ready. We need to be on our toes. And hopefully next season it's just a little bit easier on their own mental. You know what I mean? Where they see something go and they go, shit, all right, let's get to work. What's on the way? You know what I mean?
Start this new one.
Because
start learning right now.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, there are thousands and thousands at this point of game developers. Okay, small, large, medium, all of that, right? And so we need to be able to be malleable enough to reach out to any of those developers and get their buy-in to what we're doing. And then I have to be able to take that game, no matter how small or whatever, put it in and give us bigger pots and bigger play and bigger whatever. Help them, help us. So
I've watched. Go ahead.
I was just saying win-win for that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I definitely have watched people that have been in the league, like the original teams, right? Anybody who's been in the league for even one season, you watch the changes don't really affect them anymore. So it's a pretty quick turnaround. Like we're like really we all look at the newbies and we're like, really, bro?
It was what's hilarious.
Now?
Like when we first started, and we had the league like changes and stuff like that. You had a lot of like Scants or even like really anybody would come to me, and it was just all at once. Everybody's upset, everybody's DMing me, thinking they're the only ones DMing me, and I'm just keeping to myself, answering the questions, trying to keep everybody level headed. And at that time, it was really hard to see the vision, and that's why I appreciate the fuck out of Billy and Scants and the people that were there and stuck by when that got to, because that was tough. Everybody was upset when changes were made, but because there was nothing like this to go off of. They didn't have any, and there was nobody watching. Nobody was interested. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was like a big thing where we have colleges partnering with us and corporate companies partnering with us, and now it is, but and we didn't have like jerseys, we didn't have all that stuff was not there, right? And so at that time, those people deserve all the praise, because
those players,
it was a leap of faith essentially.
Heck yeah,
from the players of we're gonna do this.
And so I appreciate you guys a ton. But now that all of those things are there, you guys are the ones that are like, the changes happen, you don't hear anything from them. Nothing. Like, there is not a peep, right? And then then it's like all, the new people that are coming in, and I'm getting the DMs again. I'll probably get 20, 30 DMs as soon as I send out, the updates. And they're, most of them are angry. A lot of them are like, I don't really care because I don't like this game anyways, but what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know what I mean? And I still have to kind of, I still do. I don't have to, but I still do respond because, I know kind of what they're experiencing, and they're experiencing it at a much easier time, So
it's like a loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a little bit of like a loss.
Yeah, they're grieving a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they feel like it's the end all be all, but they don't understand. Like, Joni sat through Soul Calibur not being in the wheel for
That's what I was about to
2
talk
seasons.
about.
2 seasons.
So he went from
his baby.
and he went from top in the league to losing, I think, 2 or 3 of his games, like Mario Kart, Soul Calibur, and there was one other, and I can't remember what it is, but I know he lost like 3 of his games in one season, and then that stayed for another season, and he never said a word. And so, in a way, you have sympathy for him, but in a way, you don't have any sympathy for him.
And Soul Calibur's back.
Yeah, and Soul Calibur's
I was about
back.
to say that, and that's the thing, is that you might get it back later. So it's like, and now it is back. So now he's like about to show all these new people what's up.
Exactly. And he has that advantage. Nobody's really seen him play, right? And so it's very interesting to kind of see that shift happening. And, that's kind of why I wanted to talk more about, like, that type of stuff, the wheel, the changes on the wheel and stuff like that.
So with that, I think, this can go into how you've done something different that we haven't seen done before. I don't think anybody's seen done before with the games. So we didn't necessarily lose these games, but these games completely changed how you're going to play them. And you already know where I'm going with this. So it's Smash 4v4, which we've had a tournament. I think we've only had one, right?
We had one.
We've had one. It went crazy.
It was Yeah.
It was
pretty cool.
bonkers. Like, people.
Did you see it?
I was here.
You were here?
Oh, yeah. We were both here. Yeah, so it was crazy. At first, we were like, what the heck? And then it was like, as it was going on, like, people were strategizing and getting super hyped.
What did we put together? What characters? Like, what? How do they work well?
Now they're all asking for it back.
Yep, exactly. And then, go ahead.
It's crazy. Like, the night before that tournament, well, really, when I announced the tournament, I got tons of DMs. Then the night before the tournament, I got 3 phone calls from 3 different people telling me not to do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't do it. Like, this is not a good look.
You're ruining
you
the
need
game.
To change this.
Yep.
Like, it's not going to work.
It's not competitive.
Blah, blah, blah. Like, 3 separate people called me. And I listened, and I was like, I get it. And I had no idea how many people would show up, how many people would be interested. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a risk here. We'll put out $400 and see.
And Smash is one of our biggest, like,
probably the biggest.
Exactly.
They've been around since the beginning.
They didn't want to ruin the community, so it makes sense. They don't want something that's gonna make people not want to show up. So I got that. But at the end of the day, like, for me, it was a good test run to see, like, and is what I'm thinking, because I've thought it through. I've kind of taken those measurements. I know the risk here, and then I say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do, right? And then now I want to see what it actually looks like in game. How long do these games actually last? Are they actually competitive? That type of stuff. So I figured, all right, I'll put some money in. I don't really care how many people show up, but we'll entice them. Get enough, at least 2 teams show up, and then we're good, right? And and then of course we had 60 plus people, right? And they loved it. They loved it. Like, we were on Twitter, just like everybody talking about how fun this thing was, and they hope to see it again. And and we will bring it back, but it's funny because when I created the 4v4 format, the reasoning was the people that were upset didn't understand that I was giving them the advantage again. So, and the point to that is, like, right now, if you are a shooting game player in the league, or last season, if you were a shooting game player in the league, you were the highest ranking individual, period. Because as a shooting game player, you are most likely to be called on every game at least 6 or 7 times in any individual game. Like, every single one, you're going to get called at least 6 or 7 times, because the team game's going to come up, and then it's going to be a reset, and now you get to play, right? So as a shooting game player, you are top ranking, right?
The most valuable.
And most valuable. As a fighting game player, you're basically bottom of the barrel, because your game has to come up at the exact time you are available. And so whereas a shooting game player has the advantage of being ready at that time, the fighting game player has a huge disadvantage, right? And that's okay. It's okay because it's the wheel format and strategizing and all that stuff like that. It's not that it's like, oh, it's not fair. That's not the case.
No, it just exposes some weaknesses.
Exactly. And so for me, I started thinking, okay, how can I balance that out next season to where, because the first season it was heavily fighters. Second and third was shooting. Now fourth, I wanted to balance it out as much as I thought I could. And so by adding the 4v4 format, you're a lot more likely to have a reset. And if you have a reset, you can play your best players every time Smash comes up, right? And so no matter whether you're on your 5th player or you're on your 3rd player, like, either there's going to be a reset, but you're going to be able to play your player, right? And then the same with Dragon Ball Z 3v3, right? And then 5v5 Street Fighter. And so these games having that type of team format allows you to play your best player and others, which brings the fighting game stock up. But then it also forces the shooting game players to show where they're at in these fighting games. So it shines a light on the players that aren't doing this, that aren't actually... Fighting game players historically have always had to carry their own in shooting games. They have to. Because they're going to get called up for a shooting game, period. You're going to have to play, right? But shooting game players don't have that. They don't have to play fighting games. They almost never have to play them. So they really don't get exposed in that way.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. Fighting game comes up, no pressure. I don't care.
Reset.
I'm not playing it.
Reset.
And so, so this changes that. You're going to have to play, and you're going to get exposed when you go out there. You don't know what the heck you're doing, right?
Yeah, those changes do it all too, though, because like before, even before this change was made, by those past 2 seasons, like on my team, I can speak to it. like we realized, oh wow, like we're way weaker in these shooters than we should be at the level that these other teams are bringing in shooters. So now, like, so for the draft, that could influence the decisions that I make. You know what I mean? And now what's happening this season, they didn't get to see it yet, so this draft it's not exposing anything quite yet. But at least they've been able to practice, and maybe they have seen some things be exposed. But this new draft comes, then we play the next season. Now the next draft comes, they could be making different decisions, you know, based off of what they're going to see. And I think the other one was Blaze Blue, right?
Yeah,
Blaze Blue Cross Tag 2v2.
Well, cross tag, we're still trying to figure out if we can run 2v2 successfully.
Got it.
Because they don't have like a party mode. So we're trying to figure it out.
All right, cool.
Yeah. But most likely it'll be 1v1. If possible, it'd be 2v2, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. So but those games basically make it to where fighting games, half of the fighting games are team games now, right? And I took away with shooting with the other strategy, because I know this is going to be a question for a lot of people, Tarkov being added in then forces the team to strategize around a shooting game. So because it's 1v1, normally you never had to strategize around it because you're going to get a reset. But now, if Tarkov comes up and you don't have your Tarkov player, you're screwed, right? And so you have to strategize around, okay, Tarkov is still on the wheel. So basically, I tried to hone in on a couple shooters where you're not going to have a full-blown reset every single time a shooting game comes up. So that's what that was my balancing act. In that, so
I know Lemon Skate's not considered a shooter,
right?
But it still has those
you
kind
have
of
to, you have to strategize around it.
You have to strategize around it because it's the 2v2. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're soft.
Exactly.
And one person can't just carry because you have to pass off the controllers. So it's definitely a game you got to play. But I love that game.
It's so fun, dude.
I do have a question about that because we've had some people talking about why aren't the sports games like that? Because you can play with multiple people in the sports games as well. So
that's actually the next my next step. So I do plan, and I was gonna do it this season, and then I was like, I think that's just like for me personally, it's a little bit too much because I would have to figure out like the real infrastructure of doing that. Like, what does that really look like? You know, are we doing 5v5, and how does that operate? And you know, how many of these games am I going to have to buy to do it? Are they playing on the same console? Not. So I'd have to play each individual game, figure out the way it's played, and then I'll add it in. So, but it is the next thing I'm doing. Like, sports games will be, you know, the same where you're playing as a team. And not all of them, but you know, we'll see.
That was a really good question. I think though with that too, like with playing it, you have to actually make sure these games, like, you know, they're mainly 1v1, right? So like that 2v2, or when you add the other player, like, are they really built for that, or does it become trash? You know, like where the bots or the computer that's like starts to not follow play rules and things like that. Because you kind of like with Madden, you already have that happening. You know? So like, you know, that kind of stuff matters because if the whole game goes to whack. You know what I mean? So I think, obviously you do the research and you do the playing beforehand to see it, but like that's super important. And I feel like you can make as many changes, you know, and people will adapt, but that will be a hell of a lot of changes. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is very digestible, even for anybody who's new. You know, whereas doing all that could have been less digestible. I think it's still been fine, but.
There's a lot of like game modes in the sports games that allow you to do it very easily. So like there's with 2K, for example, there's like a street mode where you're now I'm forgetting the name of it, but a blacktop where you're just basically playing like a 3v3 street ball game. So that would be much easier. It's just street ball 21 playing to 21. Yeah, exactly. So so that we could run something like that very easily. But yeah, I mean, I'm figuring it out, seeing what works, and then just gonna make that happen.
I think again, if UEL keeps growing, and then these companies like EA is like, hey, we want to make a game mode that works for UEL, like that would be crazy.
I want to see people get dunked on that 3v3 stuff. Everybody's just gonna be getting piped on. Like, I feel like that'd be pretty sick.
It'll be different for sure when it's everyone's playing. Everyone's a player, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's not like, oh, that's a computer. Like, when everyone's a player, there's a lot more trash talk, a lot more energy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was something that I, like, as I was releasing the games, I was like, I could do this. Like, but I was like, nah, it's just, I don't know enough to make that decision, and then, you know, I don't want to screw it up, so.
No, makes sense.
That's good.
You got any more questions about the games?
No, don't
About the
think
games.
so. No.
So then, are we keeping the same wheel? Is the wheel gonna stay looking the same, or is that gonna be something? Okay.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I wasn't sure, but I figured.
Yeah, we have a so we actually have a graphic designer that's rebuilding all of it. So we're gonna have our own. Yeah, our own.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, our own stuff.
Yeah. Brand it.
Yeah.
Everything's
gonna be
going.
branded.
Yep.
So you have our own wheel. We actually have our own player thing too. So when a player's selected, you'll see who's left, but it'll be like the people, not just names.
And it'll either get grayed out or something like that.
Yeah. So
That's sick.
so yeah, everything's gonna be branded. We have a graphic designer that is doing all of it. I hired him like.
That did remind me of something. Was the veto. So big talk about we were possibly going to have a veto.
Yeah.
And so like one team could say, I veto this. They only get one per match. And you're like first to 10 or 4 hours, right? Then you could skip that game, spin the wheel for the next one. But it wasn't put in. So, yeah, just wondering. Thoughts on that? Yeah. Because a lot of people seemed really excited about it. I was included in that.
Yeah. I just don't see where, like, I guess for me, I try to find where the strategy is not just like, I'm not going to play that game. Like, because if it's a veto, then you're, like, if you know you're going into it and going to veto a game, right? Then you're not going to practice that game. You're not going to play that game. It's almost like eliminating being versatile in certain areas. You're already taking the risk of not playing that game, period, when you play every game. Like, your chances are you aren't going to play half the wheel, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't like the idea of allowing people the easy way out of saying, we're not going to practice that. Like, you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
If you make that call, I want it to be because I want it to come up on the wheel. Yeah. For the $10,000, it's the last game because you made that call. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes
Rather
sense.
than like, oh, now I can veto it.
Yeah.
And then,
that makes sense.
So.
Because people are going to be scared to play Starcraft, and that would be probably the
it
veto.
would be vetoed every time. So there's certain things like I want to see.
Have you been practicing?
Yeah, I want to see the
exposure.
I want to see.
Monado would never get to play.
Yeah.
True. Exactly. So, I don't know. It's for me. It just wasn't. It wasn't in the cards.
I think that.
It's fine.
Yeah, I like that because I think it takes away a little bit from like the skill of the game because it kind of like just eliminates it, which is cool for the team that gets to do that. But it's like it's more so just avoiding a loss.
Yeah.
And it's like you shouldn't be trying to avoid a loss as much as you should be trying to make sure that you get all the wins.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So you went into production a little bit, which is something I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
So with production, you kind of touched on a lot of it already, but so how is production going? Like, so you said you have no skills. Obviously, people that are familiar with UEL know no skills.
Yeah.
But we're going to be having basically everything's going to be branded UEL. Yep. We were talking earlier about like the software being developed, which you kind of touched on with the wheel. Yeah,
we have a graphic designer that's building out a program that will basically be specific to the UEL. So. It'll have like all the motion, animations, and all that stuff like that. It'll have the players taken out of their player card, so it'll be like the 3D kind of rendering of the player whenever they're facing each other and have their stats. We have the website being rebuilt so that we can fit we built a stat sheet, but the file is too large to actually go on our current website because it's a template. So, so basically we have to rebuild and recode the entire website. And so once it's done as a coded website, we can add as big a file as we want because it's just, And so basically we'll be able to pull the stats from that website that will then go into our program and show what their current stats are, wins and losses in any particular game. So there's a lot that we're working on. The
commercial was sick.
Yeah, we got we got tons of new microphones. We got the PTZ cameras so that they can follow the players as they're moving. So we have like 4 or 5 of those. Plus, we have all of our other regular cameras. So essentially, we're going to be able to capture everything. We have tons of mics so that we can capture everything. Tons of cameras.
I say we're going to mic up people.
Yeah.
For the games,
Yeah.
be like,
Actually, yes.
Like the NFL does.
Yep.
Like that's
So we have like, as we're prepared for a top level production. Like this season, for my goal this season, I have a couple of them, and one of them is ESPN or better level quality, and then 2 is endorsements for the players.
Yeah.
So those are like the most important things for me right now.
Can you break down the endorsements for the players a little bit?
So like I've been basically reaching out to tons of companies to get them to endorse a player specifically, and get them. Basically, the player would do like a commercial, maybe wear some of their branding stuff and stuff like that. It's tougher because like endorsing the league is kind of the easy route because we do have a lot to offer. But endorsing a specific player makes it a little bit tougher to present to the businesses because the players don't have all of the stuff all the resources and stuff we have.
Yep.
So I am looking specifically for player endorsements, not necessarily league endorsements.
Yeah.
And so that has proven a little bit more difficult because of that, but that's still a goal of mine, so that's what I'm pushing to do.
That makes sense.
I feel like with that as the UEL grows, it'll be easier because like players get endorsements now from like, oh, you went to Evo and you won, so like,
Here's
okay, you get this because everybody knows what
Yeah.
Evo is, right?
Yeah.
But UEL's not as big yet, but when it is, then it'll be like, oh, like your team won, like we'll just sponsor your whole team or like, everybody and stuff. So I think that.
And when they see the access that comes with being a player for the league, right? So because that's like an access point to the league.
Right.
So although the player may be a smaller individual, they get that access to the larger conglomerate of the league.
Right.
So I think that vision that's definitely going to get pushed.
Would you think that like maybe getting a team endorsement first and then working towards players would be?
I think even a team endorsement
easier?
becomes difficult if the team doesn't have their own like presence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because the league has a presence, and that's what businesses want to endorse.
Yeah. I was thinking in terms of like you say, hey, Karma won 2 times in a row.
Right.
Like
That
would be more enticing than even just one person on their team, possibly.
I think for me, my goal is to get the players paid.
Yeah, for sure.
I think. I know that those are the easier routes right now, but I think my goal is to get the players paid. That's like number 1 for me, especially with production. No skills is kind of taking care of.
You're kind of going both ways too, because you're working from the top already with the league,
Right.
and then you're working from not the bottom, but like from the smaller people, which would be considered the bottom through the players.
Right.
So you're gonna eventually it's all gonna come together.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Well, that's what actually a point that I was going to bring up was that I think that there needs to be a way for the players to make money even if they don't win, right? Because like you can only do it for so long if you're not getting anything. And for those teams and players that have like not even won at all, right? They've been possibly doing this for 3 years and they haven't even won.
Right.
So it's like how long will they continue if they're not even getting like their gas money like covered, right? And they're just like putting all this time and money of their own into it. So I was thinking of even in terms of like the NFL, it's like even if you're just on the practice squad, you're getting like 6 figures because you're still helping all these other like professionals that are getting paid the millions of dollars. So they're like, okay, yeah, I'll do that, right? So that's, I agree with you on figuring it out, and I think
focusing on the players makes a lot
that
of
is
sense.
definitely a way
breaking
that
it down like that,
come up.
For sure. Just trying to get the commitment.
Yeah.
We've gotten the commitment from the players. Now I'm trying to make that commitment worthwhile. I'm trying to make it like valuable for them. And I can't necessarily put every player in here on payroll. So I gotta find other ways. So.
But between the league and then owners, like I know we just sponsored players to go to GalaxyCon.
Yep.
And we had 2 winners. We had
a lot of winners.
A couple more too. I know. Well, I guess winners. I think first place, but.
I think there was
there more than 4?
4 first place.
There was 4 first places?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I think there was like...
Because I know that Jomi got 3rd place.
10 or something was just like in the top 3.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Like that, Something like that. Yeah.
Everybody was winning.
Yeah.
See, that's crazy. And then they made money from that, so they were able to be sponsored
Go to other
that.
events.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then go sweep because like the league is building some legends.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's what's really cool too.
Yeah.
Like, because I know like I sponsored one of my players to go. He got third.
Yeah, Scans.
Like,
He didn't even tell me I would have, been interested in that, but he didn't tell me, so I was like, all right.
Yeah, I sponsored Herb and Courtney and Scarlett and Herb, Courtney,
Scarlett was
and
there.
Spartacus.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Spartacus went.
Maybe Scarlett too, but I don't know.
Yeah, he was there.
But
Scarlett was there. Scans was there.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I sent a bunch of people money. That's all I know. but yeah, I mean, like, I think like that type of stuff. Seeing where they won in every category, every game they took part in every category they won.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and that's why like the people, the CEO of the organization tweeted at us and Herb, saying like, you guys have some crazy players out there because they've never seen that. Like somebody comes out, they compete in all of them and win in all of them. You know what I mean? But that's the point. That's the point. Like we are building a different breed of players. You know? The true ultimate Endgamers. Like they really are, and people may not see it now, but they gonna see it.
Oh yeah. But that type of stuff is where they're gonna see it at too.
Yeah.
Like that exposure is awesome because they get to like see it in that. Hey, like you got people who only play this game. Mm-hmm. We come in and it's like, oh yeah, I beat you in that. I could beat you in this too.
I beat you in this too, and this, and this, and this, and this.
Yeah. You want to play Breakfast?
Well, I think another awesome point of it was that we had, it was mainly Ravens there, but we did have Scans was there also from the Buus, and so they were like representing the teams, but they also were just like, hey, we're here with the UEL. Yeah. Like, even though we're on different teams, it's like, let's go UEL. Yeah. And so like, and here we like play against each other, but when we go to other events, it's like, hey, we're going to smack all of you in every game, every category, and UEL is taking everything.
I talked to one of the players about that.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the same exact thing. Like it's cool because like the community, most people in the community like love each other. Like it's like a really dope community. Yeah. And they said like when they went down there, like obviously they're on different teams. Like I gotta get on Scarlett because he rocked the Ravens jersey, but he don't have his Ghost jersey yet, so it's all good. But still, like, right? No, shipping. So like to see like the multiple players from different teams come together, but to go down and like represent the league that way and then represent it well. You know what I mean? Like that just makes me proud as like, as a part of the league and as like an owner of the team and like participant with the players. Like it's just really cool to see that and to see the like waves that were created, like people recognized it. It's super cool. So I guess we kind of went over production. The draft that's coming up, I think that's the biggest thing to come right now.
Big,
super big. Like I know I've got my list together. I've been like contacting people, things like that. But I guess what was your intent, or how would you like to see the draft go? And then I don't know if you've already have it planned on how it's going to go.
So my intent was to create as many like big events throughout the year with the league. So like, the draft is going to be an event. The game reveal is going to be an event. The mystery game, and then the finals, right? And so having those, and then all-star, stuff, like having all of these events allows us more production, which allows us to have more opportunities for sponsoring and all that stuff like that. So making more of these events that are serious events that we can get like all of our engineers and streamers, commentators all out to make it look, perfect, was important. But how I think it's going to go or how I hope it's going to go is every team will be much better than before the draft. Like every team will be like 10. I'm hoping it's like they're 10 times better than before the draft. And so that would be like a dream come true if that could happen.
For us too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I really hope that everybody's doing their research, making their phone calls, like talking to the players, seeing their interest level, seeing what games they're really, functional and good at. And because I did everything I could, up to, and I'm still continuing through this week, but I did everything I could to, get these players involved and prepared, and now it's up to you guys to kind of seal that deal as the team owners. So, and then I guess like how I, the last question was how I think.
Or no, I guess like it's more so like the setup. Like how is it gonna go? Like
yeah, I mean it's just gonna be it's gonna be crazy. I mean we're gonna have graphics for everything. Because we have an engineer a graphic designer putting all that together. So it'll be graphics for everything from this team's coming up, this team's going, timer. But you'll see all that. Like I don't want to give too much out.
I want to touch on
it is going to be like really, really high quality streaming with high quality commentators. We're hiring a couple commentators as well. So like it is going to be next level. Very, very excited about it. Because we're working really hard on it, and so we've gotten all the equipment. I spent
enough,
but tons of money, $10,000-$15,000 on equipment to level up the production, and so I'm excited because I think that it's going to be well worth the money, and it's just going to look. Great.
So the draft's gonna be in production. That was kind of what I was
asking.
Yeah, exactly. I was just wondering, like, okay, is it gonna be more something like super simple, like, or
nah, it's not gonna be like that. I watched the first draft we ever did.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But
it was still so hype.
I know.
I think that
you think back and you kind of glorify it,
yeah.
and when you watch it, it's bad. Like it's so bad. Like
if the production meets the hype,
in front of the camera, and it's like, oh, I got this person. Everybody screams.
Yep.
And the mic doesn't work, so you don't hear what the
nobody sees you. You see me going up there because I was the one who was muted the whole time.
They were like, but still, it was so hype because like when you think back to that and how
it was monumental
into it, everybody was, and nobody knew even how it would work. Like, what the game would be like, and so it's very sentimental to even
think
about
cool.
that, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Like,
and everybody always gets like high energy when talking about it. Everybody that was there. So
that was one of the most missed things because we did that. What was that? That was first season, right?
Right before first season.
Yeah. So first season was the only time we've had a draft up to this point, and we have talked about it since. Players talked about it, owners have talked about it, and it's like whenever it gets brought up, whenever it gets brought up, it's the same thing. And I know it worked out time wise, like it had to work and player wise and stuff. But I think that experience, people are like just excited for and like craving. So it's gonna
It'd also be a little bit different this time because now, like you said, when we first did it, we didn't really even know what we were getting ourselves into. And now it's like the teams like know kind of what they need, and so now it's like really is that like person or those people or whatever, are they going to be available? Because early on it was like, yeah, we want that, and like it's not as bad if we like get this other person, but now it's really like more snipered in, I think, on what everybody really needs.
Oh yeah, and what they're looking for.
And what they're looking for,
like,
what they
most
need.
of the owners know.
Like,
I mean, I guess at this point it's so close. Like, you know if someone's committed. You know if someone's like simple things like, do they work 2 jobs and, this is something that they have time for or not have time for. All that stuff plays a role. Not that they can't do it with 2 jobs. Right. Just that their level of commitment has to be higher than somebody who maybe doesn't work a job. Right. You know what I mean? So you just have to really know all these little things.
And as owners, we have experienced more of like attitudes in terms of like coming in. Like, do you even like call back if I call you or text you or like whatever? Does it take you a week? Do you not? Like,
do you just leave my team? Because I know we both probably experienced this. Do you just like walk off my team and just like hit me up that you're on another team? Like, I know that's not a thing that can be done now. But just that type of attitude or approach to things. Like, what? You couldn't even let me like offer you nothing?
And we've even seen like in the Discord like the difference between people that are like, oh yeah, this is me, here's the games I play, and then there's like some other people that are like,
they got, like,
here's my
resume,
here's everything, right? So
here's my resume, here's why I am best for your team. Like, those attitudes, here's the games that I'm working on currently. Like that's commitment that is I mean it's required. You want to be a pro. Like the thing is, like a lot of people don't understand what's coming, right? And they can't because I can't talk about everything. If I like, there's so much happening at once. A lot of it, like, but like a lot of people don't know what's coming, and so they can only be but so committed. But if you can't commit now, in my opinion, then I don't see where like you're going to prove yourself going forward. Like if you prove that you're not committed now, it's going to be really tough to kind of take that back and all of a sudden be committed for any of the team owners.
100%.
And so like a lot of people don't really understand that, but they will, and eventually like there's going to be some huge things happening. And so when those things happen and now you want to be committed, it's going to be tough. Like the teams won't want you, because it's like, well, we saw what you did over there and why would it be any different now? You know what I mean? Like,
hey, 10, 10, 10, 40. That's all I got to say. If you're not committed with 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, and 40,000, I'm struggling to figure out.
10.
Did I miss it? 4 10s?
Yeah,
4 10s. Okay. I wasn't even aware of that. So 4 $10,000 tournaments and then a $40,000 tournament.
Yep.
I'm not gonna motivate you. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
exactly.
At this point, like
it's crazy when I did one 10,000. How wild that was to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of people, they were like, "This ain't real." Like just one 10,000 tournament. People were like, "Nah, that's not happening." Like,
and it's actually insane because like if you even look at other professional leagues that do tournaments and stuff, like there's not even many like
10,000.
big ones that
the Gears
do
of
what
War,
we're
like,
doing.
World tournament was like 30, I think, or something like that, or 20.
Yeah.
So, like for their like world one, you know, and then I can't remember what the Tekken one, but they're not huge. They're not like they're about the same size as what we're doing. So we're like at the top, the upper echelon of
100%
tournament
payouts,
and we don't have nearly as many people. So it is much easier to actually win that money. Like, you are very likely to win that money. You know what I mean? And so not taking the chance is crazy. You know?
In this season, you have so many chances like to build and like get on teams and maneuver. Like right now, you still have enough time for the big 40 at the end. Like you can prepare for that and that's what it takes. You know what I mean?
40 grand, you're talking, for a team, that's almost 10 grand a person or like 8, 8, 7, something like that. Like that's good money, and so and that's only the invited teams playing that. So it's an even smaller
community,
possibility of winning. And it's crazy, but we're also like we're right now we're in the midst of planning our own Evo. So it'll be UEL Con. It'll be in this is like super early in it, but it'll be in Connecticut at Foxwood Casino, and they've already kind of agreed to take us in and do it. And we have like a huge spot with a couple partnerships, and so they're going to provide like the TVs and chairs and tables and all that stuff like that, and we'll be able to run our event there. So
you talking about that hella salon. Yo, you talking about doing it at a casino.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Doing your own. See, hold on.
And it's huge. It's 7,000 capacity. So, like, and they're going to match whatever advertising we do. So, if I throw a huge my goal is to throw an advertising budget that gets seen by around 2 million people.
Yeah.
And then they'll match that. So we can start selling tickets and all that stuff like that.
Yep.
And it'll just, basically, the way I see it is it's going to be introducing UEL to the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like for the first time, it won't just be local. We'll introduce it to the world, what we're doing,
Yep.
So it's going to be crazy. We're only going to invite the top players to even compete in our league. So like we'll be running regular tournaments to bring people in. So you'll have like a regular Tekken tournament, but the top 5 winners from that tournament will then be invited to play in our pot, in our tournament.
Yeah.
At the casino. So we'll run one big one, a huge production, at ours, at that casino. So
that's gonna be wild.
And we'll send all the players out. We're gonna get a bus, and all of the pros will all go out together and just fucking shut shit down. And we're gonna compete in all the tournaments too. So we're just gonna fucking clean up.
Win.
Yep, exactly. Every single game better be a UEL winner.
Yeah, take over Connecticut. Let's go.
Global domination.
I'm excited. So.
And I'm going to go win some money in the casino.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do. Because I won't be winning any of the games.
That's what Brendan said. He said, I would just go straight to the casino.
We'll just be in there. Oh, that's dope, man. That's going to be so dope.
Yeah, that's hype.
Well, dang, I didn't expect that news to get dropped, so that's
no, it's super early. It's early days, but it could happen very soon. So like,
yeah, you're not putting any dates out there right now.
Not yet. Yeah, we're working on the date with the casino right now, so we're meeting with them this week, and then I met with them already. They gave the go ahead, but we have to figure out the date, and they have like a convention that's happening beforehand, so we have to figure out the date that we're working.
So is
on.
that a this year thing or
summer?
Okay. Oh, so mid-year.
Yeah, summer. We want it before Evo.
Damn, bro, I'm super hyped. That's not that far
Evo's
away.
in August.
Yep.
That is not that far away.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's sick.
Well, I guess before we move on to the next thing, do you want to talk about this? This is kind of production.
Oh yeah. Go ahead, man.
Got these papers. So these are the new.
The player contracts.
Yeah, player contracts. So going to be signed on for the whole season now.
Yes.
Is that how it works?
So players will now sign on for the season rather than just a 30-day contract. That way the owners have a little bit more like flexibility and not like having a player drop off last minute and now they got to scramble to find somebody. So before it was very player sensitive, mostly because like the players, I didn't want the players to be uncomfortable with being under contract, but I think everybody understands what under contract means now.
Yeah.
Though they don't always abide by it, but yeah, we have those situations and those people, but we handle it. And anyway, so basically the only thing that really changes in this is one, the term, so the time frame. It's now 90 days that they'd have to give you notice on. So basically, if they don't let you know by the beginning of the season, then they really like before the season starts. Actually, they would have to play in that season's tournament or get traded, and that's really what we want to happen. We don't want people dropping and then picking up to a new team. We want them traded. Like that's the best way to run the league. But it kind of depends on a lot of different things too, because if the team's cap doesn't fit that player, then they might have to drop so they can renegotiate and stuff like that. So
I think it also takes away the advantage from winning teams too. Everybody wants to be on the winning team. You know what I mean? So it kind of takes that ability to help with the teams that maybe didn't win.
And then the other thing that changes in this is what was it? I can't remember what the second. I had it in my head, but anyways, there's two things. I can't remember what the second thing is, but it's something else with the term. The reserve. So the player contract didn't have anything that for reserve players that didn't play in the tournament. So when you sign a player, if they end up being on a reserve, they would then get a percentage. If they're active, they get a percentage. That way you can still have somebody on the bench, but they still get paid if you guys win the tournament. But it's just whatever percentage you guys agree to with them being on the reserves.
Okay. That's perfect that you brought that up because I almost forgot. So the use of the reserve players. How is that working? So we've talked internally, I know, about could you sub them in during the game?
No.
And no, that's not the
this
thing.
Season. So so the talk was that we would be able to, and this was Rex's idea, very good idea, but I think it's just because he wants to play. But essentially, if you have somebody benched, then you could have 1 or 2 games where you get to play them. So if you get to say, okay, this is my one use of my reserve, and then you get to use your reserve or whatever. It sounds great, makes sense to me. It's a cool way to sub players in and out, but not something that I'm gonna do.
Not this season.
Not this season. I don't know that I'm sold on it ever actually, but definitely not this season. Essentially, if you want to play a reserve player, then put them in when the game starts. That's a part of the strategy. You want them to play, put them in when the game starts. They gotta be on your starting squad. Because I don't want put them in when the game starts. So
I agree.
you can change your player lineup in between games in the tournament.
Exactly. So that's the strategy behind it. So if you're playing Karma, then you're going to put a heavy shooting game team together, and then use your heavy shooting game team. If you play another team, you know what I mean. So
you might put your fighting team.
Exactly. You match it up how you want before the game starts, and that's your way of playing your reserves.
Yeah, so it's not you pick your team before the tournament and you're locked into that through the tournament.
Each game that you play, you'll set your team. So and that would be announced together. So you won't know what their team is and they won't know what your team is, right?
Yeah.
So you're just gonna go in kind of blind in a way and then announce your teams and then boom.
Yep.
Hell yeah. So you
Sounds
got any
good.
questions?
Nope.
Do you have anything else you want to add? I have one simple question left, but is there anything else that you want to touch on?
I don't think so. No, what's your question?
So mine is simple, and this might lead you into something. But so right now, if you had to name who you think the top 3 players were in the league, top 3 players, who would you say they are? And that you could do, and if you want, you could name draft players too, like people that are free agents.
Interesting.
Okay, so
Or top 3 free agents, if you want to do that.
I can do top 3 in the league and top 3 free agents.
All right, that's dope. Yeah.
All right, top 3 in the league, dead or alive. So I see Jury. I see Jury as like Michael Jordan in the league. For me, he is somebody that will change the way the game is played.
Okay.
But I also so I would say him for sure. And then I see Herb as definitely a Steph Curry, you know what I mean? Or somebody else that's going to change the game as well, you know what I mean? Still, because Herb is extremely dedicated to playing games. Like, he's just really...
Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous.
Like, and so...
He tied DZ somehow in sports games.
Yeah, right.
So,
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
Exactly. So, like, it's just... He's just very dedicated. And he's good, really good, too, you know? So, so definitely Herb. God, third is so hard.
That's what I was hoping for. That's why I said 3, because I know that the third one.
Third is tough, man. Sheesh, like if I had to, there's so many good ones that I'm trying to think team by team here.
It'd be easy to do it even top 5, but that's why I wanted top 3.
Is tough. I God, if there was a third pick right now,
is Watt in there at all?
I think Watt.
Oh, okay.
So like, it's tough though, like, because I feel like Watt, for me, as far as weight goes, Watt and DZ are very close. Really because of their impact in the games they play. Like, but Watt is just all around good. Like, and he's also dedicated. He picks up games very easily. DZ is just naturally very good at, especially at the games he plays. But he'll pick up games pretty easily too. And he's not trying. And then he's like really smart with his words. So he gets in people's heads very easily. He beats people he should not beat. Like, his
strategy is different.
Yeah, he's just. As far as weight goes, he holds his weight like really well. Yeah. But I would say Watt probably is a little bit better because of his potential.
Okay.
Mostly.
He's also the first to 10 champion right now.
He is.
Right,
so.
He is. And nobody is proven better than him at this point, and nobody even seems to want to try and be. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like everybody's just.
I have to play Tristan first before I play him. So.
Okay,
they're a little scared.
I tried, but Titus said I couldn't play him. I had to play Tristan first.
You can't jump straight to the
Yeah, Tristan will be here tonight.
Top 3 in the draft.
Should be in on Thursday. I'm gonna do it. Take that belt.
Yeah, top 3 in the draft is probably Snappy is 1 for sure. I saw one dude that I feel like is gonna surprise a lot of people. I can't remember. It's something like Red Fox or something.
Oh, it's got red in the name.
Yeah.
We watched him play, I think.
He's a red barn.
He's always got red in his name. That's what he
told
us.
Yeah. He was like, I got a bunch of different variations.
But
I just looked at him too.
Okay,
I don't know. When I read his profile, Big Red. Yeah,
there we go.
When I read the profile, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like this dude is gonna be good. Like,
yeah, I watched him play. He was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know. And then another one that seems super, and for me, it's all about like dedication. But another one in the draft that seems super dedicated is the dude Exo Polo. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know him at all, so.
Yeah. I don't think anybody. I don't
think I met him.
Yeah, no, but he's I don't know. He's very responsive.
Mm-hmm.
He would be somebody that I would pay attention to.
Yeah.
He'd be somebody that I would be reaching out to. But
Double C is real active in
Double C is too.
He's real active in the UEL.
But no, I would say actually top 3. It would be probably Big Red.
You said Snappy.
Slay Like Sachi and Snappy.
Damn. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big Red, Slay, because I think honestly, Slay Like Sachi is probably the best in the draft pool, but I don't know. It's hard to know.
Could he fit on every team, or?
I think he could fit on every team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really could. I think he could even fit on Karma.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think he could fit on every team.
Yeah, that's what I was interested to see what your thoughts were about if Karma will even take this seriously as picking up people, or if they're just kind of like, eh.
It'll be interesting.
I think there's just certain players in there that they want.
Yeah.
They watch the podcast, so they're going to now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to call because I haven't heard them really talking about anybody. So, but I think like there's some. I know every team has one player that they know and like and they want, right? So, but I've also heard from pretty much every other owner except Karma on like strategy of where they think they're gonna go and that type of stuff. So I don't know. Either they might just have some just as tight lips and not say.
But yeah, anything. I think that because they do have. There's multiple players that are super close with Karma.
Yeah,
right.
And I
there's
know
some
a couple
previous.
of them.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Some previous Germana players.
Yes, I think that's the route that we're gonna see them try to go. We go swipe.
I forgot about the previous Germana players. Yeah, because they're definitely top in there too. Top of the draft might be harder than the top of the league because there's some really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
like,
another there's a couple
there's
that
two that from Germana, Nav and
I'm not saying nothing for this. This is all you.
Nav and
I've been doing my research.
Starts with an M, I think.
So I can't answer. Can't say nothing because I might be wrong.
Mustafa?
I know. The one that starts with an M.
Yeah, it's like, anyways.
We're going to mess it up.
I
Yeah,
think it was the guy that I
either
beat
way,
in UFC.
you got it. You did your top 3. You said what?
I think it was the guy I beat in UFC and he was on that team.
That's funny.
I don't know. He's a dog. They're really good.
Yeah. That again, I think that this draft is going to, like you said, bring people up 10 times.
Yep.
Bring the teams up. So this is a really good.
My goal is for it to prep us for the convention. So when we go there, we beat every team, and all of our teams are at the top. Like I don't want any like random teams to beat our teams out. Like I want top 5 to be us.
So I'm just trying to think season wise. It'll more than likely be after this season.
No, it would be season 5.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is 4, and we have the tournament will be end of May.
So not that it will or won't.
April would be the next season.
Okay.
So we're doing it in April.
So then not that it will or won't.
June, sorry.
Yeah.
Months.
June, yeah. So not that it will or won't, but do you see the games changing between now and then?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
So then that's important for that moment, that event.
You can pick somebody up and then they're trash next season.
Yeah. Be like,
or vice versa.
Right?
You go on the other way.
Yep.
Like, I think Rex would be really good this season.
But the thing is, eventually it'll get to the point.
He ain't playing.
Eventually it'll get to the point where it's like not trash or not trash every season.
Yeah,
it's more
for
like
sure.
Everybody's so versatile that like you're good no matter what. Like you lost to these 2, but you gained these 2. Like you know what I mean? That's what I want. So
that's already starting to happen now.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing is like you're not.
It takes time to get to that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like it's not like you're stripping the entire wheel and then like putting on a bunch of new developed games or something crazy, which will be hilarious.
Whole wheels gone.
Do some like games that are like in their pre-stages of development.
Alpha
like,
testing.
Everybody's
everything.
like, what the? We want to talk about DMs.
Oh my God.
But Jay, man, you got anything else you want to touch on?
Nah, I'm good, man.
All right, well, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, it was good.
Yo, y'all got some real nuggets. There was some. You released some stuff today, so, and there's a lot more.
Everybody get hype.
A lot
that we held back on. So we'll wait till the appropriate moment for that.
Yep.
But yeah, I appreciate Billy coming on. Billy's gonna be a co-host more often now. And thank you for coming, Titus.
Yeah, man.
Looking forward to the draft.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
get it.
Oh my gosh, you're about to break the new mic.
Break the mic.